Los Alegres del Barranco once again projected images of El Mencho in Uruapan, Michoacan. Until when? Until they suffer for it. Until they suffer for posting those pictures on the wall. Among the songs that were chanted by the attendees, the one entitled El Dueño del Palenque, which alludes to El Mencho, stood out. In their performance in the municipality of Uruapan, Michoacan, the group Los Alegres del Barranco once again projected images of Nemesio Segura Cervantes, known as El Mencho, leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, the self-proclaimed lords of the Corrido, continued their tour in the eastern part of the state at the Plazas de Toros La Macarena, where they shared the stage with Banda Pelevacas and La Revelación. And I'm going back to what Fernando said earlier. We're not with Trump banning these bands from playing in the U.S., free speech, this, and that. I mean, shit, the president of Mexico said, corridos pa'l carajo, get them out of here. So I don't know what's going on with freedom of speech. It's all off the table at this point. Those guys might be next to get picked up like Dell Records. I mean, they're asking for it at this point, are they not? That's all the music they play, nothing but Bartel music. It's crazy. Well, then they're asking for it. I'm with free speech, I'm with MCs, whatever. But don't cry to me when, some Maísa or some Chapido has you tied up somewhere. Don't tell me that, they were just a band. Nah, they picked a side, puto. I don't want to hear that they're just a band shit. They dedicate a Narco ballad to El Mencho. Oh, Nito. I came in like a wrecking ball. Crying about it. No lloring. Among the songs sung by the audience, okay, boom. The group, which has been summoned to testify by the Jalisco State's Attorney General's office and has even had its visas revoked, hasn't announced any cancellations of its upcoming performances. The next performance, at least in Mexico, will be in Lázaro Cárdenas as part of the Expo Fiestas scheduled for April 18th. At what other concerts have you presented El Mencho's image? Who the fuck are you asking? On the night of Saturday, March 29th, the group Los Alegres del Barranco performed at the Telmex Auditorium, property of the University of Guadalajara. During the concert, the musical group dedicated a corrido accompanied by some onstage images to the leader of the four-letter cartel. The regional Mexican singer's song mentions in one of its verses, I am the owner of the Palenque, the four letters organization is in front. I am from Michoacan, where the Tierra Caliente region is. I am the Lord of the Roosters. I am from Jalisco Cartel. Who are Los Ángeles del Barranco? Los Ángeles? The fuck is it Los Ángeles or Los Alegres? Come on, man. Los Alegres del Barranco are a regional Mexican music group specialized in the subgenre of narco ballads with a career spanning more than a decade. The group has managed to position itself among the favorites of the corrido-loving public. Their lyrics usually deal with topics related to the world of rug trafficking, the life of rug lords, and the stories of power and organized crime. The group is originally from Sinaloa and is formed by Armando Moreno Alvarez, lead vocals, Jose Pavel Moreno, accordion and second vocals, Jose Carlos Moreno, bass, and Cristobal Reyes, drums. The group is so named because they are originally from San Jose del Barranco in the municipality of Badiraguato, Sinaloa. See, y'all ain't with my syllable. I'm working the shit out these syllables lately, man.
English, motherfucker, do you
according to information shared by the Apple Music platform. Okay, we're getting our news from Apple now. The group Los Alegres del Barranco will perform on April 19th at 9 p.m. at the Esplanade of the Feria de Pedro Escobedo Querétaro. Whatever the f*** that means. Mexico, the way those concerts go is the band plays the corridos. What's played on the screens is out of the band's hands. There's a guy that sets up to get the f*** out of here, primo. Facts, bro. I know this firsthand. I don't believe it. They don't have no control of their own show. Stop. Because if the sound man or the lighting engineer just took it upon his liberties to do that shit, I'm punching him in his fucking mouth. So I don't believe that. They clearly know about it, but what's played on the screen is out of their hands. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess. You have to show me some proof of that. All corrido singers should be getting their visas pulled. They all have played and received payment from the Bartels. There's hella podcasts where they talk about meeting and getting gifts. They want all the gifts. They're a bunch of... I came in like a bunch of nut huggers, man. They come in swinging. It can be the venue or promoter or whatever. I don't give Who it is? Somebody get punched in the mouth. You're not putting shit on my screen. It's my show. Los Alegres lo cagaron.
Yo vivo tranquila con los pelos en el pecho y la casa. Cállate, hijo, papá.
The U.S. confirms it revoked visas for members of Los Alegres del Barranco after Mencho's image was shown at concerts in Jalisco. Here's the thing. If those concerts are in Jalisco, Primo was probably right in the sense that, I think it was Primo, that these artists know what's going to be on the screen, but they probably don't got a fucking choice. El Padrino is the sponsor of this event. We're going to put his face on the wall. Christopher Landau, U.S. Undersecretary of State, condemned the glorification of El Mencho, leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, and confirmed the revocation of visas for members of Los Alegres del Barranco following their 2 concerts in which images of Nemesio Osegura Cervantes were projected. That's a lot better reading today than I had yesterday. My cognitives were off yesterday. I needed some alpha brain and some shit. In a message on X, on his X account, Landau shared a video of the event and noted that although he firmly believes in freedom of expression, that does not mean it should be exempt from consequences. And that is true. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech. But you can't control the consequences of everything. So you got the freedom to say it, but the consequences also have the freedom to hunt your ass down. The Mexican group Los Alegres del Barranco disseminated images glorifying the drug trafficker El Mencho, leader of the bloody CJNG cartel, at a recent concert in Mexico. Whose visa is getting taken away next? That's what I'm saying. Which, natural-born American going to get thrown to another country and deported, right? Like, eventually we're going to get to the point where it's like, you don't like what this natural-born American said, and you throw him in this time they go to San Salvador, a San Salvadorian prison or some shit. Like, at what point do we get that part? That's bullshit, Shy. Them people are artists and it's music and entertainment. Yeah. And that's my thing. I'd be like, fuck them dudes for putting his picture up there, but that's on y'all. If you get caught by the other side outside, that come with it. Do I think you should take the visas? My thing is that just, it's a start to destroy artists all the way up. It's just like comedy. You start telling these comedians to shut the fuck up. Shut up, that's offensive. You ruined everything. We no longer live in the same shit that we've thrived in as long as we have. So, cancel Peso Plumas, Luis, Tito, Roberto, yeah, everybody picked a side. Shit, all of them, they all do it. Right, everybody got to go. Freedom of speech is true in any country. Any country has the freedom to respond in its own best interest. Yeah, the response is the response. The consequence is the consequence. You had the right to say it. That's why it's protected. It's protected so that you can't be attacked over it. And that just ain't how it is. The U.S. officials also emphasized that the Trompito administration takes its responsibility to regulate foreign access to its territory very seriously, stating that the State Department has revoked the work and tourist visas of the group members. We're not going to roll out the red carpet for those who glorify criminals and terrorists. To date, the members of the Norteño group from San Jose del Barranco, Badiraguato, you see that shit? Yeah. Badiraguato have not issued an official statement on the matter, right? Fuck with my Spanish.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Peso Plumas laundering Chapiza money. There's photos of him with Nini's wife. He probably smashing. Nini probably don't want him with his wife. That was part of their set. They run that video all the time. He performed with Panther Bellico a couple weeks ago, and nobody said it, nothing then. If it's part of his set, he been doing it then. It's the same as us knowing about the Tammy Cowan shit with Big Meech, and then 50, we already talked about it, and then 50, boom, set fire to that shit. Now everybody talking about it. Now these motherfuckers lost their visas. MasterCard, Discover, all that shit. They took all that shit. Since the war started, ain't no new Corridos been coming out. Is that the truth? Is that real? Motherfuckers learn to shut their ass up and shut your side choosing ass up. That's what's happening there. It's a slippery slope. You start revoking visas, work visas. I just wish artists made better decisions. Art and culture is supposed to be for the people. It's co-opted. Now, I wonder if there's any legal recourse. Probably not. Probably not. And how much money does this clip into these guys' pockets? And like you said, didn't Peso have Chapo all over his? If Peso had Chapo all over his show, then what's the difference? I'd be surprised at these artists that pick a side like that. It's crazy to me. But again, I don't know how much you can be. I don't know how much you could be quiet. Like, how could you not pick a side? So when they start putting that pressure on you and they say, "Oh, you don't like me? You don't want to fuck with me?" Now you got a problem anyway. They didn't have a choice. The music promoters run the media, not the music. See, that's what somebody told us yesterday in the chat, right? In every instance that's the case, that's wild then. Cause I ain't seen that shit over there. You ain't just gonna attach my name to anything on the stage. And I guess it's a Mexico thing. So my apologies to Primo, who told me to shut the fuck up because I didn't know what I was talking about. You seem to be confirming that the promoters are the ones that do that shit. That's crazy. That's crazy. And then what happens? These promoters get sanctioned the way that Perez guy did. They told Geraldo Ortiz, do not work for this guy no more. That's the type of shit that a promoter attaching a group to a kingpin, that's the type of shit that's going to happen. It's an interesting conversation to be had, though. When you put art and organized crime together, again, two things that have never been very far apart. Music business was an easy business for the criminal element to get into, and they did. Never did I imagine that an artist just gotta suffer somebody playing whatever they want on the screen behind them. You know? Seems kind of fucking ridiculous.